Good morning, students. We are starting with the prayer.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yeah.
ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्युषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्यो मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम्।
Good morning, students. I will just disconnect a while and I will be back. So, good morning, students. I am audible now, right?
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You're audible.
All right. So, I am sharing my screen now. So, we have Ayuth Puja celebration today in campus. So, it's a nice feeling, like old times. Last year we did not have. We all were at home. And maybe I don't know whether students, you people took part or not last year. So we get holidays, no? So just before that holiday, we celebrate it in department wise, Ayuth Puja. So today also the same thing is happening. So afternoon classes have been cancelled for that. Post lunch, we did not miss anything. And your quiz, we have not kept next week. We have kept on 27th, right? Fine. So I also get time. So fine. Okay. Yeah. Fine, students. So we will continue with we were discussing about greedy algorithm. So I told you that we will talk more about theory. By now we know what is the theory behind greedy approaches, right? So just brush up from I told you from different perspective, okay? But it is same, whichever way you say, the main concept is same when you talk about greedy algorithms. So yeah, okay. So these are not my slides, students. I will tell you the source of the slides. It is from one of the author of our second textbook. Okay, I will share. I have the full link. I will share that with you. I had actually made, I also have various links which, nice videos where you can go through it. But sometimes, I did not provide the information together. It lot of information also creates a problem. But now I think you are matured enough. I mean, you will not be overwhelmed by seeing so much. So I will provide you the source, the video source. I have made a document wherein I had mentioned everything. So I will provide you all that. I just have to sit one day and I will provide you. Okay. So we talk about greedy algorithms, right? So what exactly we mean by greedy method technique? So greedy method is a general algorithm design paradigm. Okay, what exactly it is? If somebody says what is a greedy method, right? So it's a algorithm design technique, right? Divide and conquer, what it is also an algorithm design technique. Why do we design the algorithm? A problem is given to us and we want to solve the problem. So to solve the problem, we design algorithm. So greedy method, divide and conquer, dynamic programming, all these are algorithm design paradigm. But every method has something specific about it. Okay. So for greedy method, what are those two specific things? One is called as configurations. Now it is a different perspective, students. The same thing you would have seen in some other perspective. So when you talk of greedy method, one, we talk about configurations. What is the meaning of configurations? What are the different choices available? What are the collections available, or what values you want to find out? So various configurations are given to you. You would have seen the problems, task scheduling. What are the configurations? Which all configurations are possible, right? Or yesterday we were doing which problem we were solving. We also discussed about set cover problem or hill climbing problem, right? So in any problem there are various configurations available, or fractional knapsack problem. Okay. And then the other thing is, something is given to me. Maybe it is given that I have only one machine available. I have 10 functional units available. Various configurations are given to us. That is why, there is no direct solution, or just by seeing the problem and what is given, we are not able to find out what is the optimal solution, because there are so many configurations given. We can do this way also, this way also. If I pick this one first, then what all I pick next, the choice will be different, right? So there are various configuration available. That is why, we are saying, at the start, or saying that my solution is optimal is little difficult. Okay, various configurations are available. Then what is important? What is important is, what is my objective function? Objective function means, what is that thing that I want to optimize? Okay. Something that I want to optimize. Maybe optimization does not mean that I always want to increase it. It may be I want to either maximize it, or I want to either minimize it. For example, if it is utilization, if you say the machine utilization, I want to maximize the utilization. But if I come to the cost, I always want to minimize the cost. Hardware resources, I always want to minimize, but I want to always increase, you can say, throughput. Okay, I always want to, the number of tasks those are done per unit time, I want to increase that. That is how we make our objective function. So you must be doing your projects also, right? In your projects also, whenever you decide a problem, you want to say, this is what I am doing. So you must be very, very clear about what is your objective function. What is that you want to achieve? Okay, so you do not want to achieve many things. So finally, maybe you want to achieve minimum cost with, minimum cost with the, maximum your objective function. So sometimes your objective function is a combination of many things. Okay, so what exactly we are saying here is objective function we are defining it is a score assigned to configuration, which we want to either maximize or minimize. So now here what we are saying is, suppose, what exactly as per this definition, what we are saying is configuration is nothing but input choices. Okay, so suppose I have 10 input choices or 10 solutions available. You can say I have 10 solutions available, and corresponding to every solution, one you can say objective function value is associated. Okay, so now which solution I should put is the solution which gives me the maximum. If I want to maximize my objective function, the solution which is leading to the maximum value of objective function, or the solution which is leading to the minimum value of the objective function. Okay, that is what we mean. So now, if in general, if you say, I'll give you an example of what projects you are doing. Okay, so suppose you are doing some projects, and you people are doing machine learning kind of projects, wherein many solutions may be available. Okay, or when you try to, under some algorithm, there are 10 solutions possible, and you want to give a score to every solution. Suppose you have 100 solutions available. Okay, so you will say that you have 100 configurations available, and each configuration has a corresponding objective function associated with that. And you are going to select, let us say, best 30 solutions, for example. Okay, I don't know how your algorithm works. That is what is the meaning. Okay, you have a configuration, and each configuration has been assigned a score. Okay, so what happens now? It works best. Now you say greedy method also, you can do that. So you can assign solutions based on, some greedy choice. Maybe the start time, maybe the end time, or maybe the maximum value, maybe the minimum value, right? But greedy solutions will work not everywhere. Okay, they will not work in any general problem. Okay, so the greedy algorithms work best when they are applied to problems which has greedy choice property. So the problem should be such that, there are some greedy choices to be made. If you are trying to find a greedy solution for an algorithm for which greedy choices are not possible, then you may not get an optimal solution, even if you apply a greedy method. Okay, so a globally optimal solution can always be found by a series of local improvements from a starting configuration. That's what we are saying. So if the problem has a greedy choice property, okay, the problem is solvable using greedy choice. Any problem we will not start solving using greedy choice. Okay, then we can always find a global optimal solution that, in every iteration you will always find a local improvement, and finally you will reach to the solution, to the final solution. So to put it in a way, what exactly I mean by greedy choice property, we have put an example. Okay, so let us see what is this example. This problem is called as making change. The problem comes now, it is I don't know how useful this problem is now, because of online shopping mode. Right now we do online shopping. If something is rupees costing 399, so I have to pay only 399. In auto also, if I pay by Google Pay 52 rupees, 92 comes, I just pay 92. Otherwise, if I am paying by money, in hurry bari, I have to sometimes pay 100 rupees, and 8 rupees I don't ask back, right? So all these things have gone, so I do not know how much this problem makes sense. But yes, uh, whatever online shopping you do, okay, sometimes we do go to shops and we do shopping. Okay, so now the problem is, suppose you have done a purchasing of some rupees, some, let's say 97 rupees, and you want your 3 rupees back. You give 100 rupees and you want your 3 rupees back. Right now it is up to the shopkeeper that he wants to give you 3 1 rupees coin, or he wants to give you uh, 1 2 rupee coin and 1 rupee coin. Right now, if you want a return of 7 rupees, then it is up to the shopkeeper. He wants to give you 5 plus 2, or he wants to give you 1 coin of 7 rupees. So generally you would have seen, this algorithm, this greedy choice is already there in our mind, right? So if I have to give somebody 7 rupees, I will give 1 5 rupees and 1 2 rupees, provided I have that, right? Because, or if I have 7 rupees, if I have 1 rupee 7 coin, okay, I will give only, you know, when I don't require. Otherwise, I will always feel that, okay, because I need these 2 rupees, I want to buy a, you know, some vada pav or something that is costing 12 rupees. There, I will need this 2 rupees, right? So we always do. So the idea here is when we want to give a change back, right? So when we want to give a change back, we something runs in our mind, okay, generally, that I want to give less number of coins, right? So if I have to make 7 rupees, I will make one 5 rupees coin and one 2 rupees coin, then making one rupees 7 coins, or 2 coins, 3 coins of 2 rupees plus 1 coin. Okay, so we are considering now, okay, you know, it may be reverse also. Okay, sometimes, you know, when we were small, you have your piggy bank, or my kids have their piggy bank, so I take coin from them and I will give them the rupees. You know, that's a different thing. Okay, we are talking in general in a scenario that we want to have, we want to give, for making change, we want to utilize less number of coins. That is the idea. Okay, so what is the objective function? The objective function is minimize the number of coins returned. Okay, so the problem is, let me read out: a dollar amount to reach and a collection of coin amounts to use to get there, right? So you want to make 7 rupees or $7, for example, a dollar amount to reach and a collection of coin amounts to use to get there. How many coins I should collect? Configuration is various configurations possible. You saw just now, right? But this configuration has to be, it is a dollar amount yet to return to a customer plus the coins already returned. Maybe some coins are already returned and some more amount the shopkeeper has to return to the customer. The objective function we are keeping is minimize the number of coins returned. Okay, minimize the number of coins returned. Now let us, so there are two examples. Why these two examples are given? Now suppose, you know, suppose for example, two examples have been given like this. Some, you know, if coins are valued, suppose, you know, we have a choice to value the coin. Suppose the coins are of $0.32, $0.008, and $0.01. Okay, suppose these are the coins. These are the coin amount. Okay, and what is the greedy solution? The greedy solution that directly comes because I want to return less number of coins. I always return the largest coin that I can return. Always return the largest coin that we can return. Now suppose coins are valued like this, see 0.32, 0.08, and 0.01. Now what we are saying is, this is the explanation, you know, that how this greedy solution works. Now just let us just see, suppose I want to return 0.40. Okay, I want to return 0.40 to the customer. The choice is very simple. I will start with, first I will give 0.32. I will give, and then I will give 0.08. So number of coins returned will be 2. Right? This is a greedy choice that you saw it is working fine. Okay, now if I apply the same principle that always return the largest coin, if I apply the same principle and my coins are valued like example 2, 0.30, 0.20, 0.05, and 0.01. Okay, suppose the coins are valued like this. It's a different currency, let us say, and the coins are like this: 0.30, 0.20, 0.05, and 0.01. Now I want to make 0.40. Right? If I want to make 0.40, so what will be my greedy choice? As per the greedy algorithm, always return the largest coin. How many coins I will return? If I apply this principle, always return the largest coin that you can. You know, you can assume that you have many coins of 0.30, 0.20, 0.05, and 0.01. And I am applying this greedy solution. Always return the largest coin that I can. And I have this $0.30. These are the coin values. And I want to return 0.40. So how many coins I will return? By applying the algorithm.
200, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, Priya. You will return,
ma'am.
but
Point.
yes, how you will return 2?
So first we will be choosing 0.32. So and then
No,
the
no, no,
remaining
no,
will
no,
be
no.
0.08.
No, that is fine. Not for example 1. I'm talking about example 2. In example 2,
Oh,
if
acha.
the coins are valued like this, then how many coins you will return?
Oh, then that is one only, no, ma'am. But
You
then
want
if
to
we
make
adjust,
0.40.
then
Yeah, you have to return
if we
0.40. How will you do it?
we can have multiple coins, ma'am, of the
Yes,
same
yes,
one.
yes, 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 yes.
Oh, acha.
Everybody
So
think,
only
that
one coin will be returned, no, ma'am. But then
0.30,
if
but
we
you have to make 0.40, right?
but then according to the algorithm means it will be returning 0.20. Probably it will ignore and go, no, ma'am. So we will be moving to 0.05. So then 40, the remaining 0.10 will be covered by 2.05. So
Okay,
then that will be
good.
3, right?
Good. Okay, everybody understood. The question is like this, that we are applying this algorithm that always return. We are not thinking what is best, okay? Because we have an algorithm in place and that algorithm is working for me. So if I am a person who has to return, I am not applying my brain, let us say. So the algorithm says that always return the largest coin that you can. And these are the values of coins and you have to return 0.40. So as per the algorithm's first thing that you will pick will be 0.30. Now still 0.10 is remaining. So for making 0.10, next largest you will take 0.20, it will not work. 0.20 you don't have to return because you have to make only 0.10. So you will pick 0.05, that will again not satisfy, again you will take 0.05. So you need three coins, 0.30, 0.05 and 0.05, two coins and one coin of 0.30. So what happened actually? This was a greedy choice, right? This was a greedy choice because of which you had to return three coins. But if you see, if you are not applying the greedy algorithm, in general, if I was a shopkeeper, I have everything, what I will do, I will use two coins of 0.20, right? I will use two coins of 0.20 and I will return to the customer to make it 0.40. So in this choice, I had to give only two coins. In the greedy choice, I had to give three coins. So what we are trying to say, are we trying to say that greedy choice is not working here properly? Yes, what we are saying is greedy solutions will work provided the problem has greedy choice property. I just wanted to understand, to tell you that. So every problem may not have a greedy choice property. It may not work fine. So greedy algorithms, you cannot guarantee that it may work. See, the greedy algorithm will work here if the coin values are like this, 0.32, 0.08 and 0.01. This problem had a greedy choice property. But the second example, if the coins are valued like this, it does not have a greedy choice property. So you may not get the optimal solution using greedy choice property. That is what we want. So this example is just like that. This is again the similar problem of, you can say knapsack problem, wherein, you are making the maximum weight like this. You can treat this problem as anyways. There can be many solutions. But for greedy algorithms to work properly, they should have a greedy choice property. So that's what is the explanation written here. Example 1 has a greedy choice property. Since no amount over 0.32 can be made with a minimum number of coins by omitting a 0.32 coin. Similarly, for amounts over 0.08 but under 0.32, there is nothing between 0.32 and 0.08. Right. So greedy choice works here because if you want to make anything which is between 0.32, 0.08, you have only two choices. Either you have to take 0.32 or you have to take 0.08. But another problem does not have a greedy choice property. Since 0.40 is best made with 2.20s. But the greedy solution will pick three coins. Which ones? Right? So that's what we explained. Which ones? 0.30, 0.05 and 0.05. This is a problem known as making change. Okay, that has solved by online transaction. This has actually solved a lot, right? Solved a lot, yes. So then we talk about the fractional knapsack problem. Already it is understood to you. We will just do it with an example and then we will also see the algorithm. And when we see the algorithm, we have an argument that why this algorithm is correct. always. You have seen that, right? So the fractional knapsack problem is what is given: a set S of n items. We have n items with each item I having Bi a positive benefit and a positive weight. The goal is choose items with maximum total benefit, but with weight at most W, because that is the capacity of my bag. So I can take only W weight in my bag. So, but I want to maximize the benefit. Okay. So if we are allowed to take fractional amounts, then this becomes a fractional knapsack problem. Okay. So in this case, let Xi denote the amount we can take of item I. Suppose there is an item I which has a weight Wi, and if I take only Xi amount, so what is the benefit associated is Xi it's like saying I can take, in between there is a network issue, student, so from my mobile, so my voice will be breaking. So what it is like, you have you have for example, you have 4 apples of 100 rupees, okay, and you want to pick only one apple. So the cost of that apple that you are taking is going to be 25 rupees, like that. So Xi is, let us say, 1/4. In this case there are 4 apples, right? So what is the cost? So 1/4 into 100 rupees, like that. Okay, so Bi is a positive benefit. So if I pick one apple, I get 25 rupees. So like that it is. If I am picking one apple, 1/4 into 100. If I am picking 2 apples, 2/4 into 100, 50 rupees. If I am picking 3 apples, 3/4 into 100. Right? So that is what we are saying. So what I want to do is we want to maximize this. Now this is only for apple. Now I have apple also, I have oranges also, let us say. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to maximize this benefit. So now you would have understood the problem is very, very greedy. You know, if I have been given fruits, I have been given apple, I have been given mango and oranges. And so I will see which, and there is a limitation, you know, that my bag cannot hold this much of weight. I will first do which one is most costliest at that time, right? Maybe if mangoes are 800 rupees kg and then apples are 600 rupees kg, I will first try to fill my bag from mango, provided I can eat mangoes, right? If I am not diabetic, otherwise I will just take oranges. So many things are there, right? So we are not doing all those constraints. We have been given only one constraint. We cannot consider, you know, when you solve a problem, the more the constraints, the algorithm becomes more complex. So our constraint is only the weight that is maximized. The constraint is that whatever you finally pick, Xi means for every item, for apple, oranges, mangoes, whatever fruits, pineapple you have taken, the amount is Xi. And this total Xi, I belongs to S, Xi should be less than or equal to the weight that you can carry. Okay, so that is, so this is always important, students, and I always tell my project students and to other students as well, whenever you write a problem, students, any problem, you know, your project problem, or you are trying to write a research paper, try to use the mathematical symbols. It's very, very important, you know. I am just telling you, not out of the class, but I just want to tell all final year students, okay, you may end up writing a problem in 2-3 lines, a nice problem statement you are writing, okay, but if you are able to convert your problem into some mathematical formulae, it always looks better. It gives a different impression. It's not complex, you know, it's not complex. The same problem, it was not needed to write, right? We could have just spoken about it, that is fine. But try to use these small simple mathematical symbols if you are trying to write a research paper. Okay, your paper gets more chances to be accepted if you have used mathematical formulas. Anyways, if you are trying to write any paper, students, any, and my students or any other students, any project students, because you are a computer science student, you must write an algorithm. That should be your you know, your, what do you say, key contribution. Okay, even if you are using some, suppose you are using CNN, DNN, some machine learning algorithm you are using, okay, but the framework is there that you are making, right? The framework you are making, that your framework has your input, your output, and then in between maybe you are calling CNN, you are calling random forest, you are calling something. So you can always write a 10 to 11 lines algorithm. So as a teacher of algorithm, I need to tell you, okay? So every algorithm, please make sure every algorithm should have an input. Every algorithm, you must say output. This is the input, this is the output. Okay. And then you should say algorithm stepwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 lines algorithm. Okay. It should be, and please remember the algorithm should be as small as possible. Okay. Do not write much in the algorithm. It should be very, very small. So how will you make it small? Your algorithm. You will say I will pick this and then I will give this to this and then I will take output. No, try to use these mathematical symbols. So mathematical symbols always help you reduce your algorithm. See how nicely these algorithms are written. If you see, if I show you this algorithm, how nicely it is written. The name of the algorithm, then input, then output. And you see in the input and output, they have introduced set theory concept. Okay, and then mathematical formulas to say the same thing you could have said during words also. Okay, so as you are all computer science students, if we were in physical mode, I would have definitely asked you to write your algorithm, but I want to take this opportunity. Please write. If you are writing, if you are trying to write your in your project report also, do not think that my algorithm should be 10 20 lines. Nobody has patience to read your 20 lines of algorithm. Write a small minimum lines of algorithm. You use maximum mathematical terms wherever you can use. Okay, so that's what you have learned a course in algorithm design, right? So you have to apply that. Where will you apply? Not only passing your exam or interviews. So when you write a research paper, those who have already placed, do write research paper. Else I am saying they may be busy in first getting placed. Fine. Those who are writing papers, research papers, you should have your algorithm. That should be your contribution in your research, whatever you have done. Okay, and in the algorithm, you have a method. Algorithm, input, output, then write the algorithm, and you should also write the line numbers so that you can explain your algorithm. In line number 1, this is happening, line number 2, this is happening, like that. Okay, so that was out of the context, students. I wanted to tell you that we should use mathematical formulas. Okay, I have also learned this after so many years of my research, that it happens. uh, like I also used to do writing, everything. I used to feel I should explain so that the other person will understand easily. So rather than writing it in small words, let me write everything. But you must understand, those who are reviewing your papers are experts. Okay, so they are expert of the field. They need not understand each and every line. You don't have to explain each and every line there. Fine, students. So this is what is your fractional knapsack problem, which we are explaining like this. These small mathematical formulas everybody understands. So we go by an example, okay? Then we will go to the algorithm. The example will tell us the same example that I told you, apple, orange, and mangoes. Same example is here. Here, what has given is a set S of n items, okay? So here, what they have given is they have given 5 items, and we have numbered the items as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and these are the weights. Weights means this item number 1 is available 4 ml, 2 is available 8 ml, 3 is available of 2 ml, 4 is available 6 ml, and 5 is available 1 ml. And the corresponding benefits are mentioned. Okay, so with item 1, benefit is 12, 32, 40, 30, and 50. And this is the value. Value means how much it is going to cost per ml. Okay, so this is the value. Per ml cost is 50, per ml cost is 5, per ml cost is 20, per ml cost is 4, and per ml cost is 3. You can actually see that the benefit is 50 and it's only 1 ml. So per ml is 50. Benefit is 30, it's 6 ml. So per ml, if you take, how much you are going to take? 5. Right? So it's like BI multiplied by that fraction. So per ml cost is 40 by 2, 20. Per ml value is 4 and per ml value is 3. And the given thing is the knapsack, that the jar that you can carry it is only 10 ml. And suppose such that you are making a cocktail, doesn't matter. You can actually mix all the, all the, let us say, all the drinks, for example. If these are drinks, some drink is very, very costly, some old wine maybe, let's say, and you are able to mix other drinks on it, for example. That is the only example I can give with your, with, if you are putting it in, 110 ml, whatever glass or whatever you want to put. Okay. And you know that, okay, maybe you have gone to a party and you know that, this, in a party, I can afford having the costliest drink maybe. So, and, so I will have, and if I am the first person to choose which drink I will take first. Solution is very simple. I have only 10 ml in my capacity that I can take. And I know here which one has the highest value, right? The highest value is this 50. But that is available only 1 ml. So first I will pour this 1 ml of item number 5, right? So now I have the capacity left is 9 ml. Then I will go to the next. Which one is the next valued? Next valued is 20. Next costliest is 20, right? So I will take, and it is available only 2 ml. So I will take 2 ml of item number 3. So now I have filled my bag with 3, my jar with 3. Then I will go to the next valued is this 5. That is item number 4. And I will take everything from that, 6 ml of 4. Okay. And then I am left with, so 1 plus 2 plus 6, 9 ml is already done. So in my capacity, only 1 ml is remaining. And the next valued item is this one, 4. Right? Next valued item is 4. So I am left with only 1 ml. So this 1 ml I will take from item number 2. That's how I will fill my knapsack. So that's the algorithm. Algorithm is, now we can build upon this, we can build the algorithm. Right? Algorithm will be very simple. So what we will do is, first we will see which has the highest value, right? Which has the highest value. So I will try to take the whole weight of that highest value or the amount of that highest value, but my total weight that I have the capacity, it should be lesser or equal to that. If it is lesser or equal to that much amount I am going to take, right? And now suppose that item is empty, then I will move to the next highest. And I will repeat this process till every time I add an item, xi amount, I am going to increase my weight. W, the intermediate weight I am going to increase, and I will keep on doing this process till I reach to the maximum weight. That's the algorithm, right? That's what is written here. See, such small, I appreciate this algorithm that in such a small, you would have seen all the algorithms that we have done. All the standard algorithms are very, very small. They try to keep it as small as possible. So we write the algorithm like this: fractional knapsack. Remember, students, SW. Whatever is the input or output, you associate that with your algorithm. Algorithm, this is the name of the algorithm, fractional knapsack. So suppose you are writing your paper, you say S and W. So what is S? Then you say input. S is, you say set S of items W. Slash given benefit BI and weight WI. What we are saying is, S is a set of items W. There are W items such that, okay, for each item, benefit BI and weight VI is associated with it. And maximum weight W. And what is W? Another input. In your algorithm, there are 2 inputs. One is S and one is W. Sometimes you write input as well as output when you define the algorithm here, SW. Otherwise, you must write the inputs here. And the weight, maximum weight is also given, W. So this tells you what is given in your algorithm. Okay, and then you have output. So you say the output. Output is amount Xi of each item I to maximize benefit with weight at most W. Okay, amount xi of each item I. So what should be the output? You are going to tell that from each of the item, this is the amount xi corresponding to each item I to maximize the benefit. That is going to give you with weight at most W. The constraint also you have put here only when you say the output. So algorithm is very simple. For each item I in S, now you will go to S. For each item I in S, you will say xi is 0. You will initially say that the amount is 0. Okay, and the value Vi is Bi by Wi. Right? So how much ever you take Bi by Wi, as I said, 1 apple out of 4, it will become 1 by 4. So value is Bi by Wi, and W is total weight that you are, this W is total weight, means this is an intermediate weight that you will keep on increasing whenever you add an item. So we initialize this with 0. And for each item, you first do this initialization. You say that you have not, xi 0 means you have not taken any amount, and value is Bi by Wi. Okay, and the total weight initialize you have done with 0, and then you are putting into this while loop when this total weight is less than W. Okay, so you need to check whether it should be less than W or it should be less than or equal to W. We will see that. So this is what you do. Remove item I with highest Vi. Remove. See students, when you do a programming, it's a different thing. When you do a programming, you will program it that first, sort it, in from increasing order, in increasing value, you will do sorting. That is how you will use array or how you will use. That's your programming part. That is not part of the algorithm. So when you say it in algorithmic form, you only talk about the algorithm. How you will implement that, now you know the difference. That's a separate thing, right? So, and you know that why do we do algorithm design? Because we try to calculate complexity using the algorithm only. So that you use any programming language, it will be roughly the same complexity. So remove item I with highest Vi. So this is what you have calculated. Corresponding to every item, you have calculated the value. Vi equal to Bi by Wi. That's what we did here. So you actually, before starting the algorithm, you calculated the value. That each amount, per unit, what is the value? So if there are 4 apples of 100 rupees, each apple is costing 25 rupees, like that. So first thing that you have already done, this Vi is equal to Bi by Wi, you have already done. To find out what is the per unit value. What is the, whichever minimum fraction you are able to take, what is the value of that fraction? And then you are doing remove item I with highest Vi, which has the highest value. And then what you are doing, xi is, what is the xi? Means how much amount you are going to take. Minimum of Wi, comma W minus W. Right? So whichever because 1 ml was minimum of, to say that I can take the complete amount. Okay, so we are saying whatever is the weight here that I can take, or whichever is lesser than this. So for example, here, when I reached here, I could not, item number 2, we could take only 1 ml, but 4 ml was there, right, at the end. But we did not have a capacity. That is why we are doing this one. Minimum of Wi, comma, W minus W. W minus W is the total weight that is given. Constraint, okay, minus W means how much I have covered, whichever is minimum of Wi, comma W minus W, that I am going to take as xi. And once I have taken that xi, same thing we have written here. So rather than writing xi here, we have written minimum of Wi, same thing we have written. So basically then we are increasing W by W plus the weight that you have added. W equal to W plus the weight you have added. So W is 0. You will keep on repeating this process till you have W is less than W. Remove item I with highest Vi. So when you write algorithm, it becomes, you don't have to write much in the algorithm. Okay. So left hand side in this slide is written the explanation that why this algorithm is correct. Okay. So this, to prove the correctness of the algorithm, we always have arguments that this algorithm, this is a greedy choice algorithm, and it has a greedy choice property. This algorithm works fine because it has a greedy choice property, and how it is correct. Okay, so what is a greedy choice? Basically, the greedy choice here is we keep taking item with highest value. Okay, what is the meaning of value here? Benefit to weight ratio. That we made as our highest value or our greedy choice. Okay, so since sigma bi xi wi I belongs to S is equal to sigma I belongs to S bi by wi into xi. We are saying that, so what we have done basically, we are just saying here that we found out bi by wi for finding the value, right? Bi by wi for finding the value, and this is how we found out the value bi by wi. But when we were talking about our objective function, this was the objective function, right? Bi into xi by wi, but they are the same thing. So you say bi by wi, or you say bi into xi by wi. They are same thing. That's what we are trying to say here. Not to get confused. See, this was our objective function to minimize, to maximize, right? Why we are giving such a reasoning is because as per the knapsack problem, this was my objective function that we wanted to maximize. Bi, we want to maximize bi into xi by wi. That is 1 by 4 apple, and the value is benefit is 100 rupees. You can understand like this. Bi is my benefit, 100 rupees, okay? And there are 4 apples. So 1 by, the weight is 4. Let us say if there are 4 pieces, 1 by 4. So this is what I wanted to maximize. But this is nothing, you can call it as bi by wi into xi. Xi is the amount. Why bi by wi? Because bi by wi is giving me the value. Okay, that's what we did here. Bi by wi. We did here in this example, you see bi by wi to give me the value. So we calculated, we made another function to calculate the value, that was bi by wi. We made it here. Bi by wi algorithm has made, and then we are saying is bi by, this we wanted to maximize this as per the objective function. But this is nothing but same as bi by wi into xi. And this is what we are trying to maximize as per the algorithm. So this is one argument for the algorithm, that yes, this is the greedy choice, and by which we are putting, always taking the highest value. Okay. So this argument, we must understand this argument that, okay, this is what we had to maximize, and we are maximizing this. So my algorithm will be working fine. And then runtime, they are saying it is n log n. Is it okay, students? Is it n log n? Why they are asking why it is n log n? For each item I, this is a for loop, then I have a while loop. Remove item I with highest value of vi. Okay. Because every time I have to find a highest value of vi. So it's like I am putting maximum or minimum. Okay. And then these things, and n times if I am going to run it. Is it n log n is fine, students? Because of the while loop? You should say yes. I mean, you analyze and then say. Yes, student. Am I audible? I am saying that n log n complexity is fine. How it will come? Because of for loop or because of while loop? Because of while loop, will it come as this? Because every time the complexity involved is here. You are removing item I with highest vi. So every time you are entering to the loop, you are trying to find out the maximum or minimum, you can say highest value, right? Highest value with highest vi, because you have taken once one vi, highest vi. Every time you are checking what is the highest value. Remove item I with highest value. That will be available. That should be available, right? So is O n log n fine?
Yes, ma'am.
How? Tell me.
Ma'am, the like removing the highest item will be anyway getting the login. Like if you basically like put it into a heap or something like that, it'll again end up being the highest one. Like picking the highest one is
Okay.
login. Then
Mm-hmm.
going through each weight, like
Right. 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 Fine, students. So there are some arguments regarding the correctness of the algorithm. Okay. So it's again proving by contradiction that suppose you can just go through it. Suppose there is a better solution. Okay. There is an item I with higher value than a chosen item J. Suppose we are proving it by contradiction. Okay. So we assume that suppose there is an item I which has higher value than if you have selected J. Okay. That is value of I is less than value of J. But xi, xi means the amount that you have taken is less than wi, and xj is greater than 0. Okay, so we are trying to say that if we substitute some I with j, we get a better solution. Suppose we assume this. Okay, but what we will find is this will go against our algorithm, wherein we are saying that we are selecting minimum of w, minimum whichever weight is minimum here. Okay, so you can go through it, students. It's like you suppose that you have taken a better solution, that there was a higher value that you have chosen. Okay, but as per our algorithm, that will not happen because we are always selecting the highest value. Okay, so then there is no better solution than this greedy one. Likewise, we prove by contradiction. So we wind up here for today's students. We will meet now we have a class on Monday now, right? Yes. So we will meet on Monday, students. There is this algorithm is done. We will see the task scheduling algorithm with greedy method that we have already done, right? Before also we have done. So we applied a greedy method, and we saw which greedy choice we are going to take. Okay, so there is we had learnt one algorithm for task scheduling, which we did an algorithm wherein we said the task that completes first, that we did. So we will now take another version of that algorithm, again using the greedy method. Okay, so fine, students, we wind up here. Happy holidays to all of you, and so we all should fresh up, and I don't think you have any exams next week. Okay, so we will meet, students, on next Monday. Fine. Thank you, students. Thank you, everyone. Happy Puja holidays. Happy Dashera to everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Happy
Thank you,
Dashera.
students. Yeah, happy Dashera. Yeah, we'll meet on Monday. Fine. Thank you.